Okay, folks, I've got a little bit of sketchy news here. Not 100% sure of a lot of things, but I wanted to relay this to you folks who haven't heard already. And I want to thank two Matthews out there. First, Matthew Street, whose video I watched, and also Matt Williamson. Both of them had videos on this, and I'd heard about this myself, and I was debating whether or not I was going to say anything, but I might as well, because I don't like really talking about things that aren't 100% confirmed and just a lot of hearsay. But here's the story anyway. I don't know if you know Penn Jillette, Penn and Teller, Penn the musician, Penn Jillette. And that's kind of a weird source, but apparently he had a podcast and he actually spoke with Giles Martin a little bit, and he's kind of like, you know, dropping a few details here about what's supposedly going on with the new Beatles song that's coming up that we think is the song Now and Then. You know, a lot of people are saying Now and Then is the new song. That's the song that they're talking about. And by all the details, everything we could surmise, everything we've put together so far, it does seem obvious that that song that they worked on in the mid-90s and never released, never really finished, Now and Then, all the details, all the hints seem to point to that song. So we'll say it's going to be Now and Then, although that's not really official yet. But Paul and Ringo have been talking about it. Sounds like the situation with that song. I've said before, I've heard so far different versions of Now and Then over the years. I don't really care for it. Some people think it's fantastic. For me personally, I just don't think it's very good. I understand completely why Paul, George, and Ringo decided not to follow through with it in 94 and 95 and never put it on the Anthology 3. I get it, but that's the song they're working on, and Giles Martin is involved and so forth. Well, this latest stuff that's been dropped by Penn Jillette that we're hearing about is, first of all, that we maybe are going to get a September release. Again, everything I tell you here, take it with a tablespoon of salt, or even if it's just a pinch, you know, just take it, don't take it as gospel, because nobody's really 100% sure. But maybe we get a September release. And the thing about the song that I find interesting from this little bit of information with Giles is that it's confirmed that George Harrison is indeed on the track. Now, that's not really new, because I think Ringo confirmed that George was on it already. But when we say that George is on the track, we're not talking about any vocals. He just laid down some guitar over it, you know, so it's not that George was really singing along as he does on, say, Free as a Bird, okay? One thing I have to say about that as well is that, you know, I like what George did on Free as a Bird. I like that Paul had a verse on Free as a Bird and George had a verse on Free as a Bird. However, is it really imperative that every Beatle has a vocal on every Beatles song? Obviously, if you go through the Beatles catalog, not all four Beatles, or even just John, Paul, and George, not all Beatles sing on every track, on every Beatles song. It's not really required, you know? So some people are like, well, why isn't George singing on this? All right. Well, here's the thing. Something else that apparently was dropped from this. And this is the point where I know people have reservations. I know Matthew Street had reservations, and so do I. Supposedly, in order to get more of a Beatles sound, and maybe to get more of George Harrison's voice on this track that's coming up, they actually went back to an old outtake of the song Because from Abbey Road, and they're changing the key of it or something to fit Now and Then, and that way you can have Beatle harmonies on this song with George included. And you know, how far do you take this? That's a whole other subject for a whole other discussion, a whole other video, maybe in one of my future Fab Gab shows. I don't know how far you take it, you know. And I know Matt Williamson was talking about this, and Matthew Street was talking about this. Other fans are discussing this whole remix thing, and take this and put that and Frankenstein this and change the pitch of that. And I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it, you know. If this is true, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this. I'm going to reserve my opinion, obviously, until I've heard it. I've said that I don't like Now and Then as it is. Maybe they can make it more enjoyable, maybe make it a little more busy, make it sound very Beatley. I don't know. Maybe they can do something with it, and I'll reserve, obviously, my final opinion to when I hear the finished product. I also don't know how this is going to be released. There was some talk in the videos from the two Matts about the idea that this is the 50th anniversary coming up, well, this year, of the Red and the Blue album, 62 to 66, 67 to 70, and there's some speculation. Are they going to take Now and Then? Are they going to stick it on the Blue album? Well, I hope they don't do that, because, you know, they would have to, you know, if they put it on there, they'd have to call it Beatles 67 to 2023. You know, I don't know. I haven't heard anything other than just speculation again, which you don't want. You want to be careful of that speculation. People take it as fact. I don't know if they're going to do anything with that. I really don't care about the Red and the Blue albums anymore. I'm very happy with my 1973 copies. Thank you very much. This remixing, they're going to be remixing the songs. Giles Martin is going to, again, put a lot of different mixes in there. I think the idea is that when the Red and the Blue albums come out, they're going to be redone again. I think, how many times are you going to do it? I certainly share that feeling that it's getting to the point where enough is enough. You know, no doubt about that. And I don't know. I should also mention, people are talking about Rubber Soul as if it's a done deal. I want to emphasize here, nobody has said that Rubber Soul is coming out in the deluxe version this year yet. Although we think it might. We think it might by Christmas time. But we don't know for sure. All we know is that Giles Martin at some point let it slip, as he often does. He's let things slip before. Giles Martin has said that the next one he does will be Rubber Soul. He did say that'll be the next, but the release date is up in the air as far as I know. Anyway, so what are your feelings? This is kind of weird, shaky stuff with this new Beatles song. Do you approve? Do you disapprove? Do you care? Do you not care? Hey, on the positive side, it's great. We'll have one last Beatles song. Oh, and a major thing about the song, which I forgot to say, and I hope you're still tuned in. Major thing I forgot is that, how did I forget this earlier? Ringo Starr, originally, you know, when they did the Now and Then track in the 90s, Ringo Starr was not on the track. He did not drum on the track. So in order to be on this new Beatles single, Ringo had to make a new drumming for this, okay? So Ringo apparently, and I completely understand, because Ringo's like this, and sometimes he doesn't have that much confidence to, I can give my regards to Broad Street. He didn't want to drum on the new Beatles songs. But Ringo did not want to drum on this new Beatles song. He did not want to do it. Giles Martin, apparently, from this report from Penn Jillette, apparently Ringo had to be coaxed into it and convinced he's got to play. This is the Beatles. It's the last Beatles song. You got to do it. And finally, Ringo played drums on the new song. That's very important. That's all I know right now. Thanks, everybody.